Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Opalis webcast, Disaster Recovery Responding to an Application State. My name is Adam Hall and I'm the Technical Product Manager for Opalis. The scenario, just to recap, was that we have a web server that fails. We do some basic remediation or attempt to fix the problem automatically. Those basic remediations fail, and so then we've raised a change request, awaited the approval, and looking to restart the server automatically and then check that the application is back online. In this part 2, we're going to pick up the workflow that we built in part 1 and run it through so that you can see how all the moving parts work. So as we come across, the first thing I'm going to do is just show you my basic web server here. Pretty flash, isn't it? So we're just going to minimize that down, and I've got a nice little script here that is going to break my web server. It's going to kill a few things, and just to show you that the web server did actually die. Here it is, it's gone. And if we jump across to Operations Manager, you can see that currently the SCDW server is healthy. So we'll give that a chance to replicate across to Operations Manager. And if I go and take a look at the Opalis workflow that we built, you can see now I've done a couple of things. I've color-coded the links in between, red for fail and green for success. Just an easy way when you're looking at a workflow to see what the links actually do. And I have configured each of these icons to point to the back-end systems: Service Manager, Operations Manager, and Virtual Machine Manager, all working in tandem. You can see that the workflow is a long-running workflow. It was started at 8:15 and it is now 8:50, and you can see part 2 of the automated virtual machine is also now running. You can see it was started at 8:05 and it's now 8:50. And as you can see, I've also color-coded these on the way across and raising out to fall into an incident on fail. Now, as we wait for Operations Manager to pick up that service has failed, if we do a refresh, we should see pretty shortly that it picks up that healthy state moving to a critical state, which is what we are monitoring for in the Opalis workflow. Just while we're waiting for that, I'll show you we also have Virtual Machine Manager running, and you can see here that these are the servers that I have running in my demo environment, and this SCDW server is the one that we will be restarting when the service fails. Let's have a look and see if Operations Manager has now picked up. There we go. The website has now gone from healthy to critical. We'll close that down. I do apologize for the minimizing and maximizing, but I want you to see how all these different parts move together. So you can now see that we have a remediation that kicked off, that another workflow is now kicked off at 8:51, and you can see that we have run this workflow with a warning, which is what we expect to happen because our service failed to start, which is expected behavior. We deliberately broke the web server and set it so that it couldn't start again. In the meantime, all of those other activities have now run, which is great. We will now jump across to Service Manager and we'll do a refresh, and we'll now see that an incident was raised at 8:51. So there we have the automatic raising of a change request based on a status of an application in Operations Manager. We'll go into one of these change requests and see that we now have the apply change activity is awaiting approval. We'll go into that change request, mark it as completed, which is what Opalis is waiting to see. OK that on the way through, and that will now update the database, which Opalis is monitoring. We go back to the second part of our virtual machine. You can see that's kicked in already, 8:52, 8:53, so it kicked off right at the end of 8:52, and this is now going through, getting that VM ID, creating the checkpoint, and then it will shut down and restart the VM. So if we jump back across to Virtual Machine Manager, you can see that our checkpoint is now running, and this is a server with 2 GB of RAM, so it shouldn't hopefully take too long to run that snapshot. If we have a look at the jobs, we'll get probably a better indication of where that is at. Here it is, it's running on the way through. We'll just give that a chance to complete. If we go and have a look at the Opalis server, we should see the other one. Okay, it's still creating the checkpoint. Good, great stuff. Now we'll just give that a chance to run because I want you to see that that finishes off and then be able to see that the server shuts down. So the checkpoint is now complete, which is what we expected. We will now see very shortly, and in fact there we go, it's now stopping, otherwise known as shutting down. If we jump across to that server, there it is there, we will see that the server is indeed shutting down and will turn itself off as it shuts down, which will take a little bit of time. Now, if we remember that we configured our Opalis workflow, it has a loop here. So what it's doing right now is it's looping through the confirm shutdown, and it's polling, I think we said every 10 seconds, to see if that shutdown has been successfully completed. When it has been completed, it will then start the VM. If for any reason we fail to shut the server down and it hangs on the way down, we've got a hung service, then it will raise an incident on fail. So if we jump back across to Virtual Machine Manager, we should see that finishing shutting down any minute now. And in fact, what we can do is we can see exactly how far down it is. Oh, look at that nice black screen. There we go. The machine is now turned off. Alright, we jump across to Virtual Machine Manager, and we will see once that loop comes around, and we did configure it for 10 seconds, so depending on where it is in the cycle, you may have to wait a few seconds for that machine to start again. And there we go. It's now starting back up again. So there we go. We're connecting back to the server again. Very shortly we'll see the startup screen coming along. Scroll down. Oh, do need to reconnect. Yes. Just waiting. There we go. Should have that video any minute now. Here we go. We've got a mouse again. Yes, we go. This server was running a web server, and it's also running SQL, so it takes a little bit of time to shut down and start back up again. It's coming up quite nicely. So Opalis has now been through the confirmation of the shutdown. It is now running the startup. There we go. Start VM has now got success. We've now registered that the VM has successfully started, and once the computer has booted up, hopefully the reboot of that service would have been successful, which in this case we know it will be. And log back in. And of course, being a great demo, we've got a lovely script which fixes the break that we made earlier. And if I go and jump into the services now, I'll maximize that back up for ease of use. There we go. Alright, scroll down to the bottom, we can see currently the web service is set to be disabled, so we stopped it and disabled it, and as part of our breaking of the web server. And the script is running at the moment, which will take a little bit of time as all the other services are starting around it. It's taking a little bit of time. And there we go. Service has been set back to automatic, and the service is starting. If we go and do a refresh over here, we will see it's now automatic. Service is now starting. Once again, it's a little bit overloaded. There we go. Started. Automatic. We will bring Internet Explorer back up. Show that our web service is now running again. Just wait for that to load up. Web service is running again, and if we jump across to Operations Manager, we will see in the goodness of time that the default website on SCDW is now available again, and that will close the loop on picking up an application state Seeing that it is in a critical state, we raised a change request. We did some remediation first. We raised a change request, waited for that approval. When we got that approval, we took a snapshot, we restarted the virtual machine, fixed the problem, and then as we come around, as we're watching, there it is, it's just gone healthy. So there we go. We went all the way through that. Thank you for watching this webcast, and I hope you found it useful. Cheers.